All right, folks, this one's been a long time in the making. I have with me a industry veteran, 11 years at Johnny Selected Seeds as an area manager, a territorial manager, and head of accounts for all of the major hydro accounts. Speaker at UC Davis, University of Arizona, Mississippi State, State of the Soil alum, Bootstrap Farmer podcast alum, my old rep at Johnny Selected Seeds, and conqueror of the San Marcos River. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest employee here at Bootstrap Farmer, Randy Cummings. Morning.
Morning.
We've been friends a long time. When I started my farm, I attributed, and still to this day, much of my success to your hand-holding of me. I really wore out that rep program over there. So, you know, we've had some adventures over the years. We've co-spoke at some different teaching opportunities and conferences. We've traveled together. We've had a lot of fun. You have been a sounding board for me for many years. You've supported me in State of the Soil, pre-Bootstrap. I don't know. It's just been a great friendship, and now you're here, and I can't wait to get going, man.
It's been an awesome ride, Nick. I'm super appreciative of some of the conversations we've had over the years and the introductions and doors you've opened for me with customers, in Texas and all around. We've brainstormed a lot of cool stuff, and it's been a fantastic friendship that's just kind of blossomed from, meeting you when we both went to Farm Tech, I think is how we met, trying to learn a little bit about hydroponics. That was my kind of first educational opportunity into that all those years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago. I think you were buying a system at the time. We grabbed dinner, and
we've just been in love ever since.
So, learning a lot together, and visiting your farm, visiting your nursery at the time, and all the adventures along the way.
Well, I think as Bootstrap Farmer grows, we were looking, we hit the lottery with you, to be honest with you, because somebody with just that longevity in the industry, somebody that has seen every single type of farmer that we want to serve, I think you bring a level of knowledge, not just with seeds. I mean, of course, that's going to be a big bonus for us, but interactions with farmers over the last 11 years at all scales, at all seasons, all over the country, all over the globe. I just think it's one of the missing keys that we've been able to cover pretty well, but I think just the knowledge level is just going to go so much deeper. Plus the fact you're going to be able to help us navigate the next few years of Bootstrap Farmer as we continue to grow. You've been there before. You've seen what a company looks like as it grows throughout, many changes, no matter if that's internal or external. You're coming from a company that during peak season has 300. You're coming to a very, very small company, but it's full of people that play multiple roles. We're all very active. And you jumping in right to that and kind of, showing us some different ways, some better ways. I think you're going to be able to help us navigate through the next few bits of growing pains.
And that's really kind of the fun part for me. I've been with Bootstrap. This is my 6th day working for the company. And it's really interesting to try to, absorb some of the systems you guys are using, and how you're running the business. And the fun thing for me is the challenges that you're going through now at your size and scale are challenges I may have witnessed with a previous employer. The challenges are the same challenges. We're in the same industry. Some of the products may change, the customer's the same, the supply chain issues, may be the same. the questions and technical aspect are the same, and the challenges are like the customers have are the same. So while it's a whole new company for me, a new systems to learn, it feels very much like home. It feels very, very familiar to me. Um, but you guys are also doing some really cool, innovative stuff. The systems you're using, in some cases, are more advanced, and so I'm excited to come to Bootstrap, learn some of the systems you guys are using, impart some wisdom where I can, and yet still feel very much at home with customers that I love working with. So
Right. And we're so slow to hire because we want to make sure that we have somebody that has experience. We want to make sure we have a we have a quirky company culture here, I think you could say. Um, Having somebody that we feel safe around, but that also has this vast knowledge. Like yesterday, whenever I showed you some of the stuff we're prototyping, the validation that I had when you taking a look at it and be, oh yeah, this is going to be something. We're several months out from some of these things, and as you know, it takes a long time to get a brand new product out to market. There's a lot of different vendors to deal with and trials and prototyping and all that stuff. But just to have your initial blessing on it on something we thought was super cool, I mean, I was like, all right, now we're off to the races.
One of the first observations for me coming in is how one of the great things about the size company that Bootstrap is you guys are incredibly nimble, right? So from concept to trialing, tweaking, improving, quality checking, and implementing goes by pretty fast. And I'm used to working in a company where some of the information is siloed. There are owners of a process, and I think people are a little worried about stepping on toes, and where um, the people developing the process might be just slightly removed from the people that are interacting with customers, and slightly removed from the people ordering the product. So sometimes little things get lost along the way, but here, what I've already observed is a product idea is kicked around and it's put out there to the company, and feedback at the company level is welcomed. Poke holes in this idea. What would you improve? What are your thoughts about this?
And that goes from product to website stuff to content. I mean, everything we touch generally gets kicked around. I mean, that's the best way that we can make sure that everybody's at least has a say.
Sure.
And sometimes it takes us in a whole direction. Sometimes it's like, well, kind of missed the mark there. But it's just been highly valuable because we're all different,
Sure.
and I'm bullheaded, and everybody's a little bullheaded to some degree,
Sure.
but we're also open. It also helps that this is a company that's not drove on commission sales.
Sure.
We all just want this thing to do great.
Mm-hmm.
So the incentive for all of us as a team, it's so fun to have a project or work with a client or something, and it goes through in a positive way. Everybody gets just super pumped, and that takes us on to the next project and to the next project, or to the next product launch or the next video or the next iteration of our internal computer program that we use that was Brad developed for us. So,
and what's great about that collaboration and that opportunity for feedback is when you're putting that out there to the company and saying, give me feedback. What are your thoughts on this? To any other company, you're putting that in front of your customer service team. But in this case, the customer service team are also farmers, right? So they're looking at it from a, here are the technical questions we're going to get, but here as a farmer, this is how I would use your product. So that feedback from them becomes exponentially more important, right? So if someone's looking at it from the manufacturing standpoint. Someone else is looking at it from a cost benefit analysis standpoint. Someone's looking at it from a how do we pick, pack, and ship this in the warehouse? And you have farmers looking at it from how would I use this product and is it going to fit my needs? Or I really wish it had this feature on it. That's how you hit home runs, right?
Well, and to further that, I think you've got, especially yesterday, a look at how we then take that to some of our, we're all ex-farmers.
Sure.
We still get that in front of our farmer partners that we work with very closely. There's a handful of folks that they get products early. You saw, went to Carl's yesterday where we do the vast majority of trials. You got to meet him. So making sure that we still don't miss the mark and get it into some hands of everyday practitioners. I'm glad you got to see that as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's, great folks, Carl and Kathy, and the work they're doing is fantastic. We got to eat some of their lettuce last night for dinner at the bakery we went to. Those experiences, those meetings, those collaborations, that's what truly brings the excitement to the job. That's the good stuff, right? The face-to-face, that's the stuff I love because there's always an information exchange. You're get an opportunity to teach some of these growers something that, skill or a process or an idea that you can impart in them, and you're also learning so much from them as well. I've been in the industry 11 years. I did not come into the agricultural industry with a background in it. I've never been a farmer. I started working for that seed company because my college roommate was working there and convinced me to come there. But through those farm visits, through trade shows, through those collaborations, through those offsite trials and real world testing, that's where you learn what's working for people, what's not working for people, and what their challenges are. And if you can just step for a moment in their shoes and learn what they're struggling with, and ask them for input, that's going to help you so much along the way. I'm a sales guy at heart. I've always appreciated the customer relationship, but the agricultural industry is extremely unique in the sense where, like, coming to it from a sales guy perspective, I never feel like I'm selling used cars or life insurance or condo timeshare, whatever. It's these are the people that you go and visit them on their farm and they invite you in for a piece of pie, and
we need to get to more of those.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just thinking about people that I've met at conferences and talked to or visited them on their farm. A perfect example is you have a couple of good conversations with a grower, and it makes a long-lasting impact. I know you and I have both talked with Steve Willis, in Ohio, and
it's been a long time, Steve.
It's he heard I was moving on for Johnny's and reached out immediately, like, hey, please reach out to me when you get to Bootstrap. I'd love to talk to you. So those little nuggets of conversations that truly lead to friendships, like yours and mine, all come from a meeting, a lunch, a deeper discussion about the industry, the challenges, the pain points, and if you can help someone with one or two things, they truly appreciate that, and they take that with them and they remember that.
So again, you're coming into a position where we haven't assigned you a job title yet. Hell, I don't have a job title these days, but we're looking for you to, it's one of those things where you're the right person to have on our bus. We're letting you settle in and be like, where are you seeing the opportunities? Like you said, you've been here 6 days. and we've talked about so many things to tweak or to add or to change just already, that'll all work themselves out over the next few weeks, few months. But we are a small company. We do have growing pains, especially right now. I mean, we're an open book. So, I mean, obviously, what are some of the things you witnessed this week that, we do have opportunities to make better?
Sure. I think, there's some things that, again, just from knowing the customer, knowing the order acquisition to order fulfillment, that pipeline is pretty similar to what I'm familiar with. So little things like how we label SKUs or how we label customer information. And when I say customer information, it's the information that a company may have on a customer. It's not, their eye color, their fingerprint, any of that. But it's like, hey, are you a microgreen grower? Are you growing in a high tunnel? Are you selling to restaurants? Are you selling to a CSA? And the reason those questions may be important is because the challenges with those customers may be different. The products that can best suit their needs might be different. So I think there might be an opportunity to, when you get a customer on the phone, if you can ask them a probing question or two, just to learn a little bit about their operation, how they're marketing their product, what some of their goals may be for the future. If that helps us pick the right product to recommend to them, or help them up front to say, this may be great for you now, but you're telling me you want to do this in the fall or next year. This might actually be what you want. So I think there's some opportunities for learning a little bit more about who our customer is, and maybe I can think of a couple things on the fulfillment side, and then trying to find ways to standardize a process that makes it more efficient. So that way, we can keep costs down for our customers. We can accomplish more in a shorter period of time.
You're also coming into the company at a time where we're starting to do more and more wholesale accounts. We're starting to do more higher volume to certain clients, and by higher volume, I mean by the truckload.
Sure.
We're now diving into the very first stages of having retail partner outlets and things like that. And there's no standardization of it right now because it's just so new, and it's like one of those things where we're figuring it out as we go. So again, having you here,
sure,
all that experience, at a bigger company, at a different company, in a different company outside of just equipment, I think it's just going to help us get there a little bit faster and to make less mistakes, and hopefully make it better for all those people
sure.
that we're working with.
We want to get our product in front of more customers, right? So if we can do that in a way that benefits the end customer, and an example might be is we can't control how expensive it is to ship to Canada, right? There's duties and taxes involved. That's assessed by their government. Just shipping all that way on these products that they're frankly bulky and big and take up a lot of space on a UPS truck or a FedEx truck or whatever. If we can find a way to get our product to a local supplier in bulk, so that way that customer can still get a fantastic tray or a fantastic kit and not have to pay the shipping from Texas to Ontario or Texas to British Columbia. Great. If we can find a way to do that cheaper and they can get it from their local source, fantastic. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can expand on that and better serve the customer.
I feel like we've really crammed a lot in the last 3 days, and it's kind of, I'm trying to remember when everything started and ended conversation wise, but I don't think one thing we really talked about was, I think for the first time you're actually seeing, we're not buying other people's stuff. We are
right.
We are manufacturing
Yep.
loop houses. We are making our own trays in multiple different versions. So I think you've seen a little bit of that behind the scenes this week as far as, oh, this is how this stuff is actually getting made. And that, I think that's fairly new for you, isn't it?
It is. There's a concept of trying to source, from someone that's got a good product. And there's a lot of games in town. There are many people, many companies that carry very similar products, and you can try to rely on their supply chain and their fulfillment. But when push comes to shove and supply is tight, being a middleman, for lack of a better term, has risks, right? So if we can control that process, that manufacturing process, and we can at times sometimes ship directly from the manufacturer to the customer and cut out some of that overhead cost to keep prices low for them, then that's a win. And of course it feels good to have products made in the US and keeping people working.
I think there'll be a new appreciation of how long the road actually is, because like you said, you're used to buying from somebody like us,
sure,
and it going to you. And now you're seeing, okay, the tooling is coming from one place, the raw materials is coming from another. We're getting this little part from somebody else. It's all congregating at the warehouse to come into form Voltron there. So, so it's like, instead of just, hey, XYZ company, do you have our shipment? Now it's like, hey, 6 vendors, do you have the raw materials you need?
Sure.
Is your equipment running? Do we have, space on the press or whatever the case may be? It's and then you throw in the logistics of it, boats and trains and planes,
sure,
and the trucks, the never-ending trucks, so it's that. You also saw at the warehouse, packaging, and you've seen boxes before. You know what a box is? It's a little cube.
This thing with the flaps, right?
Right, and you throw stuff in there, and you drop kick it. No, but now we're looking at, and we didn't even cover this, but our boxes are made locally in Fort Worth.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
So that's the thing. Where are we sourcing our boxes from? Where are we ratcheting down those manufacturing miles? I don't think prior to this week you knew that we made our own lock channel right here, 90 miles from us, so.
And I'm super excited about that lock channel too. When we talk about, some of these greenhouse kits pieces are kind of modular, right? And if you start thinking of them like Lego pieces, I've seen some of the R&D and product development stuff that you're working on with some of that, some of those channels and lock wire, and it looks like there's some really cool stuff coming on the horizon. I'm really, really excited about it.
I'm glad you get to see the full process. Like, some of the stuff has already been on a farm for the last, since November on one of the upcoming projects that we don't plan to put out probably till late winter of this year. And this isn't even a supply chain issue. Now we're coming down to some of the things that we're experiencing. We don't have room in the warehouse.
Sure.
Kind of thing. I feel like a lot of time people are like, well, you should carry this, and it's, it'd be great for you. It's like, we agree.
Right.
But we don't want to leave it outside, though.
Sure. And picking your battles, right?
The train doesn't stop for trays.
Right.
Everything is trays. Hoop houses are second, and it's equally important. So bringing on something new right now today would be at the sacrifice of the thing that is our heart and soul of the company, which is the trays and the hoop houses.
Yep.
So we can't sacrifice some of that stuff. Now we have new buildings being built. We have another warehouse going up to make that room, but it's just that picking your battles. It's for me, it's a hard decision, right? These are my baby projects. I want to see them through, but you also know some of the further out stuff that we're working with that is not necessarily for that project. We're being super cloak and dagger here, but but there's things that's going to make even that so much better. But where you're out of production from that, just from the manufacturing partner. So it's I've learned a lot of patience here,
and it goes back to being that nimble company that can crank those out. But one kind of concept to think about is, we're trying very hard to protect, our customer and our product line, in the sense that if we add one or two more products that utilize that those channels and locking wire, let's just paint a scenario where those could potentially be in limited supply if the manufacturer can't keep up. I'm not saying that's the case, but let's go with that scenario, right? So we never want to be at a point where one product has been overutilized, and we can't keep up, and now suddenly we can't provide a greenhouse kit because we're short on one part that goes in it, right?
Dude, and in last week we held up a greenhouse or two because we're waiting on a package of bolts.
Yeah,
a package of bolts, and it's not like we could just run Home Depot. A package of bolts for us is like 2,000 bolts.
Sure.
So it's been real interesting, and now other things that we're working on is redundant suppliers for bolts, redundant suppliers for not the manufacturing of things, but the raw material side of things.
Yep. So. And it goes back to, and this is something I think every grower can kind of take and appreciate, is there's a healthy way to do this, and it seems like Bootstrap's being very smart in it, where we talk about like a three-legged stool, right? And you can add products till the cows come home, but if you don't have enough staff to fulfill them, or you don't have the warehouse space, one of those legs of that stool gets long, and the other two can't support it, and the things start falling out of balance, right? So, adding me to the team props one of those legs of that stool up. Expanding on the warehouse, project that you've got going on is going to help that fulfillment, side. You're working on some fantastic product development stuff right now that I'm super excited about. So, and then Brad's always looking at ways of how can we make order entry, instructional content, just the efficiencies in the process better, and I'm hoping to help with that. So as we prop one leg up, we're supporting the others and building that stool taller and taller in the right way, And
it just takes time. Well, again, man, I knew coming to a new company, changing careers, changing all of it. I mean, it's a huge step. I know you haven't like left behind friends. You're still going to live in the same town kind of thing, but it's vastly different. You've taken a chance with us. You've really altered your personal life and made a commitment to us. And I feel like we've reciprocated, and that you're in a safe space, but we do really, really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Sure. I mean, it's very, very mutual. So for whatever reasons you and your family decided to sit down and have the talk to come here, we really appreciate it. And I know from a personal experience that it's going to be great, and
it's one of those things. So, I don't, for folks listening or watching, this is something that,
hi Mom,
we've been, you and I have been talking about and Brad for over 2 years. And, I think we knew we'd be a good fit for each other for a long time. I think leaving my previous company is tough. I feel like I've kind of grown up there. I'm certainly not a kid, but I feel like I've kind of cut my teeth there. And the last 2 years have been hard on a lot of companies. The supply chain stuff, when the economy is tough, agriculture seems to really thrive. People start making victory gardens and leaving their jobs and putting their own food on their own table, or decide to try something new. So the growth for both companies, I'm sure it's been great the last couple of years, but it felt tough leaving behind that. All those people that I know and have worked with for so long and admire and appreciate. But at the same time, it's really exciting to come to Bootstrap. I mean, the first time I saw your trays, I think you and I were visiting Jeff Bednar years ago at Profound Microfarms. Super cool farm, by the way, for anyone curious, it'd be worth checking it out. But getting my hands on those microgreen trays and propagation trays 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't even know how long, really showed me how quality the product was. And I think growers appreciate when they can take a product that they buy, use it for a month or two, walk away because another project just comes up and gets dumped in their lap. Farmers are pulled in so many different directions, and then a year goes by, and to see that tray the following year still in immaculate condition and not have to stop what they're doing to then go buy, replenish a product and pay through the nose for expedited shipping because, they're constantly on the move. So having a product that they can buy once and have it be reliable for them and serve them through many, many seasons and not have something that they're going to come to that's broken or not working or, a roll-up side on their high tunnel that doesn't work or whatever. Just eliminating that headache by having a good quality product right from the jump is certainly admirable. And again, we've already talked a little bit. I'm a sales guy, right? So that quality in a product is extremely valuable to me from my perspective, where I'm putting my name, my reputation on the line that says, I vouch for this product and you're going to be happy with it. And I strongly recommend it. The product sells itself when it's a good quality product. And I think you and I have talked about it too, where a lot of times in our industry, we see these social media groups, these Facebook groups, and a sales rep from a company could talk about a product till the cows come home, show charts and figures and math and all that, and the first thing a grower is going to do is reach out on a Facebook group and say, hey, what does everyone else think about this product? So having something that growers like to talk about, having a quality product is important to a sales rep in this industry. So it was something that was definitely admirable and helped me know that it was a good, strong, easy decision to come to Bootstrap. You guys have a fantastic reputation. And I'm not saying this because you're right in front of me, but your marketing and social media and content is fantastic. You and Katie do a bang up job on it. So it's just it made that decision. It was hard to leave, but I knew I was coming to the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, man, I've always loved you. I'm so glad you're here, and we're just going to turn the page and we're going to hit the ground running, brother. So I guess we're going to record a few more podcasts while you're here, just some observations and things like that. So you can look forward to that in the upcoming weeks. We'll have to make sure we see each other face to face.
Sure.
That's welcome to the internet company, but we'll make sure that throughout the years, and that's another thing that we get with you is just the ability to, I've interviewed you several times before Bootstrap even came about through State of the Soil, and it's just always a great conversation. So we're also looking forward to utilizing you for content. So we'll get after it. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to Texas, and we'll see you next week.
Take care. Thanks.